What if genuine goodness became the greatest disability in a world that rewards performance over presence? What if being real, in an age of filters, made you appear foolish? What if your refusal to play the game everyone else has mastered, the game of curated lives, strategic friendships, and calculated authenticity, made you look like an idiot in our digital coliseum, where every moment is content, where every emotion is monetizable, where every relationship is networking? What happens to the soul that simply wants to love without an agenda? You know this person. Maybe you are this person, the one who comments genuinely on posts everyone else just double taps, who shares their real thoughts, while others share what gets engagement, who believes people mean what they say in a world built on subtext and strategy. They're called naive, simple, behind the times, not savvy enough for the modern world. But what if their innocence isn't ignorance, but resistance? What if their sincerity isn't stupidity, but the last remaining evidence of what we've lost? This isn't about going backward. This isn't about rejecting technology. This is about the human heart trying to stay human in an increasingly inhuman world. And the question that haunts us in a society that's mastered the art of appearing without being, of connecting without touching, of speaking without saying, who's really the fool? The one who sees through the illusion, or the ones trapped inside it? When authenticity becomes the ultimate performance, in our world of infinite scroll, everyone's become a brand. Everyone's become a curator of their own mythology. We wake up and check our phones. Before we check our hearts, we document our breakfast. Before we taste it, we announce our love before we feel it. And in this marketplace of identity, there's a particular kind of person who stands out, not because they're louder, but because they're quieter. Not because they perform better, but because they refuse to perform at all. They post pictures without filters. They share failures alongside successes. They respond to, "How are you?" with actual honesty, instead of "living my best life." They're the ones who still believe that social media should be social, that dating apps should lead to dating, that authentic shouldn't need to be a marketing buzzword. But here's where the frame reveals itself. In a world where everything is performance, authenticity itself becomes a performance, where sincerity becomes a strategy, where being real becomes another way to stand out from the crowd. The digital age has created a new kind of social pressure. The pressure to be unpressured, the demand to be effortless, the requirement to be spontaneous on schedule. We've gamified human connection. Likes become points, followers become scores, comments become currency, and genuine people become glitches in a system designed for optimization. They don't understand why anyone would post a photo that doesn't make them look perfect. They can't comprehend sharing a thought that isn't polished. They're baffled by vulnerability that isn't strategic. In conference rooms across Silicon Valley, these genuine souls are studied like exotic animals. How do we capture authenticity? How do we package sincerity? How do we scale intimacy? As if the human heart were a problem to be solved, rather than a mystery to be honored. The frame we live inside tells us that innocence is ignorance, that trust is gullibility, that believing the best in people is failure to read the room. But what if the room is wrong? What if the game is rigged? What if our digital spaces have become so corrupted that goodness itself appears broken? The paradox of digital connection. Here's what we discovered in our rush to connect everyone. The more ways we created to reach each other, the more ways we found to hide. We have video calls, but we turn off our cameras. We have instant messaging, but we leave each other on read. That make us feel more isolated than we've ever been. And into this landscape walks a particular kind of person, someone who still believes that social media should make us more social, that technology should bring us closer, not give us better ways to avoid each other. They're the ones who actually read your entire caption, not just the first line, who remember what you shared last week and follow up in real life, who think emoji reactions are no substitute for actual words. To everyone else, they seem exhausting, too much, too real, too present, because presence has become the scarcest commodity in our attention economy. We've trained ourselves to be everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. Physically here, mentally checking notifications. talking to you while scrolling past someone else. Multitasking has become the socially acceptable way to be rude to everyone equally. But some people still believe that when you're with someone, you should be with them, that conversations deserve your full attention, that the person in front of you is more important than the person who might text you. They put their phones face down during dinner. They make eye contact during conversations. They remember details because they were actually listening. And in our distracted world, this makes them seem almost supernatural, like they possess some ancient power we've forgotten how to access. The principle here is profound. In an age of infinite connection, presence becomes rebellion. In a world of endless options, commitment becomes radical. In a culture of surface level everything, depth becomes dangerous. Because depth requires time, presence requires sacrifice. Real connection requires letting go of the illusion that something better is always one swipe away. The cost of always being on. We've created a world where everyone is performing all the time, where privacy is extinct and solitude is suspicious. Your thoughts become tweets. Your feelings become status updates. Your experiences become stories that disappear in 24 hours. Unless someone screenshots them, for context you'll never control. We've externalized our internal lives to such a degree that many people no longer know what they think about anything until they see how others react to their posts about it. We crowdsource our opinions. We outsource our validation. We let algorithms decide what deserves our attention. And then there are those who still believe that some thoughts are meant to stay inside your head, that some experiences are meant to be lived, not documented, that some feelings are too sacred to be content. They're the ones who disappear from social media for weeks, and when they return, they don't explain where they went, because they understand that not everything needs to be shared, that mystery is not the enemy, that you can live a full life without proving it to strangers. But this makes them invisible in a visibility-obsessed culture. If you're not posting, do you even exist? If you're not sharing, are you even living? The digital world has created a new existential crisis, the fear that experiences don't count unless they're witnessed by your network. So people climb mountains for the photo opportunity, attend concert to prove they were there, travel to beautiful places, but only see them through the camera lens. They've confused documentation with experience, performance with living, broadcasting with being, and the genuine souls among us watch this with bewilderment, not because they're anti-technology, but because they understand that life's most meaningful moments often happen in the spaces between the posts, in the quiet conversations that don't make good content, in the small kindnesses that no one will ever see, in the internal growth that can't be measured in metrics, the profile that told the truth. Let me tell you about Maya, not her real name, but her real story. Because in our hyper-connected world, anonymity has become the only way to tell the truth. Maya joined every platform when she turned 18. Instagram for photos, Twitter for thoughts, LinkedIn for networking, TikTok because everyone said she had to. At first, she tried to play the game the way everyone else did. Perfectly curated photos with carefully crafted captions, strategic posting times for maximum engagement, comments designed to get comments back. But something felt wrong. Every post felt like a performance of a life she wasn't actually living. Every caption felt like marketing copy for a person she didn't recognize. So she started an experiment. What if she just told the truth? Instead of living my best life, she posted, having a hard week, but grateful for small moments. Instead of posting only her victories, she shared her struggles. The job rejection that devastated her, the friendship that ended badly, the days when she didn't get out of bed. Instead of filtered selfies, she posted pictures that showed what she actually looked like at 7 a.m. on a Tuesday. The response was immediate and polarizing. Half her followers found it refreshing. They started sharing their own truths. Her comment sections became support groups. Strangers began reaching out with their own stories of struggle and hope, but the other half found it disturbing. Why would you post that? Keep your personal business private. No one wants to see your problems. Some unfollowed her. Others told her she was trauma dumping. A few even suggested she needed therapy for being so attention-seeking. But Maya kept going, because for the first time since joining social media, she felt like herself online. Her follower count dropped. Her engagement rates plummeted. The algorithm stopped promoting her posts because they didn't fit the model of what performs well. But something else happened. The people who stayed became real friends. Not just digital connections, but humans who showed up in her actual life. When she posted about struggling to afford groceries, someone brought her food. When she shared about feeling isolated, people invited her to real gatherings. When she admitted she was scared about a medical procedure, strangers offered to drive her to the appointment. Maya had accidentally discovered what social media was supposed to do, create genuine community. But she'd done it by breaking every rule of social media success. No personal brand, no content strategy, no influence to monetize, just a human being trying to connect with other human beings in a world that had forgotten how to be human together. The algorithm that couldn't understand her. Maya's honesty broke the internet. Not in the viral way, in the algorithmic way. The platforms didn't know what to do with her content. It didn't fit any category. It couldn't be easily monetized. It didn't follow trending topics or use viral hashtags. Her posts about depression got flagged as potentially harmful. Her photos without filters got buried beneath perfectly edited ones. Her authentic captions got less reach than generic inspirational quotes. The system was designed to reward performance, not presence, to amplify what sells, not what's real. But Maya kept posting anyway, because she'd learned something that the algorithm couldn't measure: the difference between being seen and being witnessed, between having followers and having friends, between going viral and going deep. Her small but genuine community became a refuge in the digital wilderness, a place where people could say, "I'm not okay," without being told to, manifest better vibes, where vulnerability wasn't content, where support wasn't performative, where human beings remembered how to be human together. The offline revelation. 6 months into her honesty experiment, Maya did something radical. She went offline for a week. No posts, no stories, no engagement with anyone else's content. When she returned, she wrote about what she'd discovered. "I forgot that I exist, even when I'm not posting about it. I forgot that my thoughts have value, even when no one likes them. I forgot that my experiences are real, even when I don't document them. I spent a week being present for my own life, feeling my feelings without immediately turning them into content, having conversations without thinking about how to share them later. And I realized I am not my online presence. My worth is not measured in metrics. My relationships are not defined by digital interactions. I am a human being who happens to use technology, not a piece of technology that happens to be human." The post got 47 likes, no comments. The algorithm buried it beneath a influencer's breakfast photo that got 10,000 hearts. But Maya didn't care anymore. Because she'd found something more valuable than viral content, she'd found herself. The choice every human faces now, every morning. When you wake up and reach for your phone, you face a choice. Will you start your day by checking how your life looks to others, or by checking how your life feels to you? Will you curate your experience before you live it, or will you live it before you curate it? Will you be present for your actual life, or will you perform a digital version of the life you think people want to see? This isn't a choice between technology and nature. This isn't about rejecting progress or returning to some imaginary golden age. This is about remembering that you are not your profile. Your worth is not your reach. Your relationships are not your network. You are a human being with a beating heart, breathing lung, thinking mind, and feeling soul. And none of that requires requires anyone else's validation to be real. The radical act of being yourself, in a world obsessed with optimization, being yourself becomes radical. In a culture that demands performance, authenticity becomes rebellion. In a society that rewards perfection, vulnerability becomes revolutionary. This doesn't mean oversharing. This doesn't mean broadcasting every thought and feeling. This means remembering that your private life is allowed to stay private, that your sacred moments don't need to be content, that your genuine self is more valuable than your performed self. It means choosing depth over reach, quality over quantity, presence over performance. It means believing that the people who matter will love you for who you are, not who you pretend to be online. And it means understanding that in a world full of profiles, being a person is the most radical thing you can do. Your digital detox starts with digital intention. You don't have to delete everything. You don't have to go live in the woods. You don't have to reject technology entirely. But you can reclaim your humanity within these digital spaces. You can post less and mean it more. You can comment genuinely instead of strategically. You can use technology to connect instead of to hide. You can remember that behind is a person just as complicated, just as hopeful as you are. You can choose compassion over comparison, understanding over judgment, presence over performance. The simple questions that change everything. Before you post, ask yourself, am I sharing this to connect or to impress? Before you comment, ask yourself, am I responding to a person or a persona? Before you scroll, ask yourself, am I learning about others' lives or avoiding my own? Before you follow, ask yourself, does this person's content make me feel more human or less? These aren't rules, they're invitations. Invitations to remember that every interaction online is an interaction between humans, and humans deserve more than metrics, more than algorithms, more than performance. They deserve presence, they deserve authenticity, they deserve love, and so do you. You are not an idiot for being real. In a world that's lost its way, the people who remember the path often look like they're lost. In a culture that's forgotten how to connect, the people who still know how often seem out of touch. In a society that rewards performance, the people who refuse to perform often appear unsuccessful. But here's what I want you to know. Your genuineness is not naivety. Your authenticity is not ignorance. Your refusal to play the game is not failure to understand the rules. You understand perfectly. You just know that some games aren't worth winning. Your insistence on being real in an artificial world, it's wisdom. Your commitment to depth in a surface-level culture is not old-fashioned, it's timeless. Your belief that people matter more than metrics is not idealistic, it's essential. Keep being human in an increasingly digital world. Keep choosing connection over collection. Keep prioritizing presence over performance. Because in a world full of profiles, the world needs more people. And you, exactly as you are, not as your feed suggests you might be. You are enough. You always were. You always will be. The digital age needs its human heart, and that heart beats in people like you. So, love on. The world is waiting for the real you. Not your optimized version. Not your curated highlight reel. You, beautifully, imperfect, authentic, you.